Welcome to Take the Black Live. I am Dan Selke, the editor of Winners Coming to Net. I'm here with Cheryl Wassenaar, editor over at Culturist. How are you doing today, Cheryl?
I'm good, Dan. Hi, everyone.
Hello. And we have rather a lot to cover today.
Yeah.
Great.
Good thing we've got things to drink while we talk.
We need to, if we're going to do that. We were off last week, but we're back now.
It's true.
And quite a lot happened in the news. Quite a lot happened over here. We have a giveaway we're going to do later. We're going to give away your choice of Game of Thrones replica foam swords. We don't emphasize that they're foam. You can't actually kill anybody with these. But they're
Unless you try
cool.
really hard.
Courtesy of fun.com. We have 5 of those.
Yeah, fun.com.
And, of course, we have to thank Gang Brewery and HBO for giving us a bottle of Queen of the Seven Kingdoms Sour Blonde Ale Blend to drink while we go through all of this news. Cheers to Gang Brewery and fun.com.
Valor Morgulis.
Valor Hires. It is pretty good, actually. I like that.
I'm a fan of Belgian ales in general, so.
And hey, everybody, for joining us. Hey, Michael Douglas. Hey, Ray. Hey, Renee. Dominique, Sue, Julie. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Julie.
Sarah, Casey, Eleonora. Everybody's here today. We got a good audience.
All right.
And again, we are going to give away the foam replica swords a little bit later in the program. But first, let's get to some news because a lot of stuff happened in the past 2 weeks.
Seriously, guys.
Okay.
So much.
Headline 1. It's over.
I know.
Filming on Game of Thrones is done. It's ended. It's forever finished. I will never get to / have to cover a person on the set or a new prop introduced or a battle being filmed. It's over. How do you feel about that?
I don't know what to do with myself writing anymore.
It does bring in the traffic.
Because I ended up covering a lot of the same spoilers over on Culturist with my own brand of great conspiracy theories.
It's not spoilers. It's just what's reports from the set.
Yeah, reports from the set is a nicer way of putting it. But yeah, no, it's you get used to it, looking and seeing what's new, who's where. You know, where is Kit Harington in the world? I don't know, and it's kind of freeing. He's probably off enjoying his honeymoon still.
There's a bit of freeing something from it, but it is monumental. Like, this show's been going on for 8 years. They have filmed the last scene.
Yep.
Again, it hasn't really sunk in for me yet. I think...
No, me neither.
When I see, like, Kit Harington's hair cut short, it'll be an emotional moment, or when I finally see the episodes. But right now, it is finished. Although we do have a few images left from the set to go over.
It's true.
And let's cherish these, because it's the last time we're ever going to see images from the set of Game of Thrones. Set of other stuff, maybe. But so we had from the past 2 weeks, we had this image, which I was pretty intrigued by.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. I did see a theory on Twitter that it was like a werewood type situation with the hands, and I couldn't I didn't dislike that theory, I guess, because it would be kind of weird and cool, but I'm honestly not sure still. The answer is definitely not Siege Tower, I don't think.
Okay, so I have a realistic explanation and a wild, off-the-wall, crazy explanation.
Let's go with the realistic first.
Okay, it's a siege tower. Like that's what I disagree. I think it probably is. The explanation I heard was that this is covered in like furs and skins.
Okay.
To avoid flaming arrows.
Right.
To avoid it being set on fire, which does make sense.
Right.
But like just looking at it, it looks like something out of like a Lovecraft story. Like they've built a tower of flesh, and they will use it to summon a dark god into our universe. So that's my crazy explanation. Euron Greyjoy's built it, and he's going to use it to work some magic crap. But probably it's a siege tower, but it is a creepy-looking siege tower.
Yeah, something is very wrong here.
But that'll be fun. Anybody has any opinions on that? Yes, I'm going to talk about the prequels, which we will get to.
Yes.
Don't you worry. But first, let's just cherish these final images from the set.
Let's do it.
We also got one more before we go. One more image of the King's Landing set in Belfast, just awash in smoke.
Yeah.
Just covered in the stuff. Oh, I'm almost wistful. Because, like, we've been watching this giant set they've built be just inundated with smoke and flames and mist for what seems like months now, although I think it's only been like a month, actually, technically.
Probably.
But this is the last time I'm going to get to see the King's Landing set all covered in smoke. That's quite a lot of it there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we need to go over like what we think it is again. I think that we've pretty much arrived.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
There's smoke, there's fire, or there's White Walkers having the mist, or it's dragons setting things on fire and there's smoke.
Possibly all three at the same time.
Hopefully all three at the same time.
Yeah, use that budget, Game of Thrones.
Or it's the dark god that Euron summoned with his flesh tower. It's kind of spitting out Ucker and mucus.
I didn't know that Cthulhu did things like that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
He's hard to understand.
It's true. He was not meant for our world. Or Westeros.
Or any world, really.
No.
Except, we're getting way off track. Anyway,
Dark
that's
gods.
Nice. It's too bad we don't see that again. Do you have any thoughts on that?
On King's Landing in general?
Yeah, the smoke going on.
Oh, the smoke. Yeah. We did see one report on Twitter from someone who got close to the set that said there was ice surrounding the Red
that.
Keep.
Yeah, I didn't report on
I mean, there weren't really good, like, pictures to back this claim up, but they said that there was ice there.
Was that a Red Priestess?
I don't think it was a Red Priestess.
Gotcha, because she was very reliable.
She
Like,
was.
I would trust her if she said it.
Though the good people over at our Free Folk did pick up the ice report as well, and that's how I saw it. And that could be interesting. I mean, you know, you're a bigger proponent of the White Walkers theory than I am, but if there is ice, that's a very, very quick progression from snow is just starting to fall to there's ice everywhere.
I mean,
so
when the White Walkers come somewhere,
something
they
supernatural.
bring the winter with them.
Exactly.
I'm guessing, and I'm sure it will get icy in King's Landing.
Something supernatural this
Again.
way comes.
Just because this is the last time I'm going to get to say it for a while, it's going to be very cathartic and very just momentous to see King's Landing, a city we've got to know very, very well over the past 7 years, go through this kind of pressure. I'm sure it's going to be extremely intense. I'm looking forward to it very much.
It's going to be different even than Blackwater.
Oh, very much.
Because Blackwater, there was that tension of, is the city going to be...
dragon.
Well, yeah, dragons. With Blackwater, there's the tension of, is the city going to be breached? Is the city going to be breached? Like, Cersei sits on the throne. She's ready to just swallow the poison and go for it. And so to have the walls be breached and to see the destruction kind of through the city is going to be a very different look, and I'm excited and I'm sad that we have to wait until next year.
Me too. We're just burned down. Like, watch it be burned down.
Right.
It's going to be good.
It will be.
Anyway, beyond the set, they had a big old rap party. The cast
did.
and crew, of course, another one. There weren't as many. I get the idea that people were told not to take their Instagram pictures this time, because we didn't really get many.
No.
We did have this one picture I wanted to share of Kit Harington just getting his groove on hardcore. You don't. What? What's funny?
DJ Kit Harington doing
not?
his dad dance.
It's not in motion. He's waving
I saw
his
the video.
arms in the air like he just does not care.
I saw the video, Dan.
And that's Emilia Clarke behind him, right? Taking
Yes,
a photo of her doofy co-star.
She is the best supportive friend. But that smile is very definitely, this is blackmail material.
This is blackmail material? Mm-hmm. Gotcha. I say go for it, Kit Harington. Dance like no one's watching, even though a lot of people are watching.
It's true.
Comments here. Thanks for chiming in, everybody. Oh, Cheryl points out, Cheryl Gerba.
I was going to say,
not you.
what?
Danny's vision does have ice and snow in the King's Landing and a burned out Hulk.
Yep.
So it's not like they're not going anywhere with that. Mm-hmm. And Julie, of course, would love to be at that party. I can only imagine.
Yes.
We will take ourselves there. Let's toast to that party. Corey Thone. Jon Snow would play Depeche Mode and bring everyone down. Probably.
No, he would play The Sound of Silence.
Just over and over on repeat.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Without words, too. Just like a silent, just the
instrumental?
melody. Yes.
Oh
the
my!
really sad version.
That is peak Jon Snow.
And finally, we have to talk about this. This is
Yes.
Maisie Williams, Arya Stark, also finished filming, and her sign-off message was. Let's just look at it. This is what Maisie Williams, Arya Stark, posted after her final day of filming on the Game of Thrones set. Again, it's like the Flesh Tower. What the hell? And I'll read the caption she put with it.
Okay.
Which was pretty traditionally sweet. Goodbye Belfast, goodbye Arya, goodbye Game of Thrones, what a joy I've had. Here's to the adventures to come. hashtag last woman standing, hashtag barely. And then an image of bloodied sneakers. What to make of this, Cheryl?
To quote Cardi B, these is bloody shoes.
To quote Cardi B. To Cardi B.
To Cardi B. Mm-hmm. She just had her baby, so to Cardi B, congratulations.
Now, that's a statement piece,
yes.
right? You don't put an image of bloodied tennis shoes after your last day of Game of Thrones and not want to provoke something.
This is Arya we're talking about, though. She's got murdering in her future.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, but yes, she has murdering in her future, but she's not going to be doing it in sneakers.
Well, no. But she couldn't show her costume, so she just did the next best thing.
So what are you saying? That she, got blood in her costumes and then put on her sneakers, sprayed a bunch of fake blood in her shoes and said, "Here I am, world"?
That sounds absolutely plausible to me, Dan, and I don't know why it doesn't sound plausible to you.
Because it requires effort. I mean, I'm of the opinion that when given the choice, people will just, take a picture of something, or, her face, even, smiling. But not, go to the effort of putting blood on your shoes and then telling the world about it. That seems like a purposeful ploy to poke people in the outrage.
I mean, Maisie Williams trolling Game of Thrones fans also doesn't sound completely out of the realm of the ordinary. Yeah. So I'm not surprised by her choice. I kind of like that she went to this sort of unconventional way because, for other people, we learned that they were done basically because they were like, oh, yeah, I'm in Australia now.
Well, a lot of them did. A lot of them had Sophie Turner's message was like, "I can't believe this is over. What a bittersweet, beautiful day." Right. Which we all guessed that. And I think Amelia Clark had a picture of her freaking face, saying what a wonderful journey it's been. But oh no, not Maisie Williams. It's goodbye Game of Thrones. Dan, here's some blood on my shoes.
Dan, you're being a little mad on the internet about the bloody shoes.
I'm intrigued. I mean, I agree with you. It's interesting. It's a dynamic, eye-catching way to go out. Also, last woman standing. People have studied that she means Arya lives, or does that mean blah, 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 blah? I think it might just mean that she was literally the last person to film a scene.
Yes. We had reports from, I believe, a Red Priestess this time, who had said Kit Harington was basically done midweek last week, and Maisie's last day was Friday.
It was the last day.
Right.
Of all the last days.
Right.
But yeah, she is done, and that's quite a way to go out. I mean,
yes.
Don't get me wrong, I applaud her for being controversial and having fun with it.
Yes.
Yes. Glenda says, love it, morbid and mysterious. Exactly. Everyone's poking.
Yes.
They're all poking the bear.
Yep.
Happening. And very cryptic, Maisie, says Christine. And I agree.
Yes.
Not in a bad way, but just an intriguing way. If you have the eyes of the world on you, why not just have fun with it?
Yep.
But I mean, I am hung up on it. The blood in the shoes, God, pretty intense.
You're mad online, Dan. It's okay.
Moving on.
Okay.
We also had HBO Nordic, which is an arm. We are still going to get to the sword giveaway here in a minute. People, don't worry. We got prequels to do and then sword giveaway.
Yep.
And then it's Long of Dan and Josh.
Yep.
So HBO Nordic.
Right.
Is an arm of HBO.
Yes.
That is a little famous for actually leaking Beyond the Wall, the episode last year ahead of time.
Yep.
They posted on their Facebook page the closest thing we have yet to an official Season 8 poster.
Yes.
And I'm not sure what this is exactly, but it's an image from an official Game of Thrones account.
Yes.
HBO Nordic, official HBO account.
Yes.
I thought we'd just look at it and see what we think. Is this the Game of Thrones Season 8 poster? Again, it's not in a fan account, not on Reddit. This is from HBO Nordic, an arm of HBO.
Yes.
And it would make sense to me that HBO Nordic, of all the HBO arms, would be the one to maybe oops, here's the key art.
Pulling a Tom Holland here. If it is the key art, it's great.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's one of those images that are made up of other images. Jon Snow's mustache is made up of dead whites walking around. And his eyebrow is a dragon.
Yes.
And there's other stuff in there. It's definitely cool art. Thank you.
There we go.
Zoom in on the people mustache.
And there's the dragon eye.
The dragon eyebrow. That's a furrowed brow.
An eyebrow. Yeah, there's a lot of detail here.
It's someone. It's not just some fan making something.
Right.
Clearly, somebody at HBO drew this up.
Yeah, somebody put some serious effort into it.
I just don't know if it was if it's for the actual promotional campaign they're going to mount,
right?
Or if it's I don't know, an idea or something.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, HBO Nordic I think stepped out of little bounds, and I'm pretty happy about it.
I mean, you can't not be happy when you get a cool piece of art like this.
That's pretty sweet.
It is really sweet. I like that it's completely in black and white.
Yeah. It's nice.
You know, Game of Thrones has always kind of had that kind of muted color scheme, like a very dark color scheme anyway, but you know, to completely get rid of any kind of red or anything like that and just go for black and white, you know, winter is coming / winter is here for a Stark, not for a Well, actually, the Stark colors are gray and white.
They are.
And the Targaryen colors are red and black.
No, I failed. I was making a pun. I was saying the image is very stark. Stark contrast.
Oh.
Get it?
Oh. I was just off in theory land, so I was ready to go there. But yeah, I mean, technically speaking, Jon is both Stark and Targaryen, and it is
a dragon on his face.
One color Stark, one color Targaryen. Yeah. So
that's great. And
good job, HBO Nordic.
I'm just curious to see whether that ends up being the actual art for the season, or whether it's just, I don't know, some.
Or if we get a series of them.
Of course, because last year the key art was like the fire in the ice,
right?
A little bit,
right. But I would be interested to see if they do kind of a series of them, you know, with other characters as well.
Oh,
kind of.
Oh, I would like that a lot.
Yeah.
That'd be neat.
You know, like I think it was like the season 3 or something posters where all of them had the half faces.
Right. That was cool.
That was really cool. So I'm hoping that, you know, we get more leaks. No,
or at least season 6, they like the Hall of Faces.
Right. So we have all the different ones. That would be really cool.
That'd be nice. I'd like that. All right. Finally.
HBO.
Our final topic before we get to the giveaway, which is coming, the sword giveaway. We got to talk about quite a bit of news about Game of Thrones prequels.
So much news, guys.
We didn't know anything like 2 weeks ago, and now we know a lot.
We know now.
Okay, so Game of Thrones prequels.
Yes.
We know they're coming. We knew that HBO had already ordered one.
Yes.
One based on the Age of Heroes.
Correct.
What we weren't what I wasn't expecting was news from the Belfast Telegraph that said that prequel, or at least a prequel, could film in Belfast at Titanic Studios as early as October of this year.
Yes.
That's fast.
Yes. But it doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise you? Why not?
It does not surprise me because Game of Thrones infamously had a bad pilot.
It did.
It had a really bad pilot. So much so.
Extensive reshoots, yeah.
Extensive reshoots. They had to recast a couple people.
like
Catelyn Stark.
Sophie Turner grew
like
a foot in between. You can tell where it changed.
Yes, there are places out there where you can find just spot the difference between what was the original pilot and what's the new stuff they've reshot.
Yeah, I mean, those people, they had to the original pilot, they had a different person playing Daenerys, different person playing Catelyn. They recast both.
Yes.
For the whole show.
So in that respect, that doesn't surprise me because, you know, and especially with Westworld being such a, you know, it takes a year to do a season of Westworld, and so.
Shouldn't.
This kind of more consistent long lead, this more consistent, you know, ability to maybe say, okay, we can get, you know, the long night or whatever they're calling it, year in, year out. That'll be a better way for us to keep our dominance of the genre.
Sure. And
on top of that, this is just a pilot order. This isn't the order for the...
that's important to note. This is not...
They haven't gotten a season order yet.
So far as we know, anyway.
Right. As far as we know, they don't have a season order.
Yeah, the news was they'd ordered a pilot made.
Right. So if they order the season, if they order the series, whatever,
which
then
they're going to.
Yeah, they're probably going to. If they order it, then they still have that whole year of time to produce. Right. They don't have to.
And to recast or skip if they have to, or do reshoots.
Right. They've got the time. So that doesn't surprise me. And on top of that, it doesn't surprise me that they go back to Titanic, because it's been the hub of Game of Thrones. There's a lot of room there. They can do all kinds of crazy stuff, you know, build King's Landing.
They already, and that set's staying up, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
It's if we need a city set, look what we got out here.
Mm-hmm. So in that sense, I'm not surprised that they would start shooting it this early. I'm excited to see what kind of information and photos we can start getting on it.
Just what ends up there.
Yeah, what kind of crazy nonsense.
Who's going to be walking in and out? Do you think if they're supposed in October, do you think they've already cast people?
It wouldn't surprise me if they have.
Me neither. I'm kind of surprised.
It is July. So they've got...
That's
casting takes a while.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they were casting even before we got news that the pilot was happening.
This is a great comment from Corey Thone.
Yes.
AT&T's announcement that they want HBO to compete with Netflix means we're going to get a lot more content out of the Game of Thrones universe.
Yep.
We're spending less money on each series too. Not sure it's a good thing, but I bet we get a lot of new GOT universe shows on HBO in the future. I didn't think about that. And I will say that AT&T hasn't really owned Game of Thrones or HBO for that long.
Right.
Like, I don't know if they could have booked Titanic Studios. I imagine you have to do that ahead of time quite a bit.
Right.
And that merger went through, like, what, a month ago, 2 months ago?
Not very long ago at all, no.
But it's possible.
Right.
That is true. AT&T did, at a town hall meeting, say, we want Game of Thrones to, not Game of Thrones, we want HBO to produce more content. And hot on the heels of that, what else did we hear?
Rumors about another spin-off. This one I am actually more excited about than The Long Night. So the rumor comes from the Game of Thrones wiki, and it involves basically what they're the Doom of Valyria. Finally,
so it's a different show called
Empire of Ash.
Sounds pretty cool.
Empire of Ash just rolls off the tongue.
It's a good name.
It's a good name. Great name, and I love it. That's what I'm going to name my new punk band. No, I'm kidding. I can't play any instruments. But so the rumor is that it's actually going to precede the fall of Valyria. Like, it's going to be kind of I called it like a Rome meets Game of Thrones crossover.
It will explore from
Bring
the
quote.
The rumor source from the wiki. Empire of Ash will explore the social, economic, and political crises which tore apart the Valyrian Empire from within.
Yes. Also, dragons.
Pretty juicy. Yes, hundreds of dragons. In the
Lots
sky.
of dragons.
And this would be a separate prequel from Age of Heroes.
Yes.
And one that's less confirmed because HBO has not said anything about this one
also,
yet.
yes.
Can you imagine what their press office is like right now? Can you imagine like what the people who are supposed to intake?
They're drinking more than we are. That's for sure.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Cheers to them.
Exactly. How much do we have left?
Yeah, pour one out for them, maybe.
In a second. Going over Julie Davies, love it. Empire of Ash, woohoo. Christine loves it. Empire of Ash, nice. It does sound like it sounds good.
Like I said, I am much more excited for it.
Some other things they said about it.
Yes.
Again, it's kind of like a Roman Empire
can
allegory.
I fill your glass for
yes,
you?
You can. Thank you.
Keep reading. I'll pour.
Which was always there. The Valyrian Empire sounded like the Roman Empire. They built roads.
We've killed the bottle.
Oh, hooray for us, people. They built roads, they had colonies.
Right.
A big chunk of it is said to be set on a city in Sothorios.
Yes.
Which we had never been to. Which is described as kind of like a combination of like Northern Africa at the time, like Constantinople meets Carthage. Yeah. So that'd be very cool. That'd be very interesting.
Game of Thrones style elephants?
I mean, I think, do elephants exist in the Game of Thrones world? I think I've ever seen one. I don't know.
Does it matter?
No, they do. They've mentioned it.
Right.
Because the Golden Company have elephants.
Yes. Ancient elephants.
Dragons and elephants. Dragon elephants? Who knows?
Ooh, whoa. Let's not get crazy here.
And a couple of the characters they talked about in this leak, which may be true, maybe not. One character is a platinum blonde black female dragon rider who's like the daughter of a white Valyrian and then a foreigner from Sothorios. Which, again, is kind of, it parallels the way North Africa and Rome interacted at that time. And they had these, like, client states, and they took slaves from them and all this stuff, which would be very interesting. And then another woman, character, a self-made former slave, a deceptively matronly-looking Asian woman in her 50s, who is now one of the richest citizens and a major political leader and government intrigue player. Sounds pretty good, too.
Sign me up for all of this.
And then, the Targaryens, of course. Dany's the Dreamer, who's the one who gets them out of there before the Doom.
Right.
And her father, I think Aenar, I want to say.
Aenar.
Something like that. So it was like a very, very detailed leak.
It was impressive.
It's like one of those things, like, if you made this up, you worked at this.
Yes. Yes. The report even came saying, like, that they had seen multiple Bibles for this show.
Yeah.
Like, they went hardcore, in-depth, reportedly, into this stuff. And that excites me, too, because that shows that they have a long-term plan. They're willing to kind of plan things out ahead of time. They're not restrained by running ahead of established material the same way that Game of Thrones has been. So we might not see a change in quality in later seasons. And honestly, like I said, more excited about this one than The Long Night, even though I like the idea of, this Age of Heroes.
I like it too.
I like it, but reading this leak made me say, this is what Game of Thrones is capable of.
I mean, yeah, like, my concern with The Long Night one was that it sounded a little too similar to the show we already have, where the kingdoms squabble and the White Walkers are on the horizon.
Yeah.
Like this one, it is kind of the same structurally. It's like the Valyrian Empire squabbles while the Doom is on the horizon.
Right.
But it's just a different sort of environment.
Right.
And obviously it's not White Walkers again.
And it's not a place that we have explored.
At all, no.
At all. Whereas, sure, HBO might be able to save some money because it will have to film in a lot of the same places already filmed, but to be able to...
Also, no, I mean, dragons filling the skies, that's got to be expensive.
That's not cheap. But the idea of being able to kind of explore these new places and show these different things, establish some new characters, new houses. I mean, you've got the familiarity of Targaryens and dragons to draw in kind of more casual fans.
Yeah, totally.
But then there's this potential for so much hardcore lore and, magic and all that cool stuff to kind of draw in hardcore fans. And I really, really like the idea of it. And I'm going to watch whatever Game of Thrones spinoff we get, but...
Yes, because we're paid and also because we want to.
Yes. I mean, there's a twofold reason
I am
here.
interested. I'm on board with some prequels if they're interesting.
Yes.
Definitely.
But it is a much more intriguing,
direction.
Yes, than Age of Heroes Long Night series would be.
I agree. I hope
Yes.
it's true. Before we
Fingers
move on,
crossed.
one more comment from Corey Thone, who's just killing it.
All right, give it to me.
We need a Game of Thrones single-cam sitcom that takes place in a port city with a finance company that lends money for explorations and trade. Basically The Office, but with oysters, clams, cockles, and deadpanning the camera, which I'm completely on board with.
Yes.
I've always said that. I wanted, like, if you have to have two spin-offs,
Yes.
have one that's like your big hour-long epic, whatever, Valyrian
Right.
is fine. And then, like, have, like, a smaller half-hour sitcom one that's, like, totally different in tone. It wouldn't overlap at all. That's what I'm in favor of. I don't think it's going to happen.
Or a cooking show where every dish is based on chicken for the Hound.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Like, something different.
Yes.
But we'll see if Empire of Ash pans out. I hope it does.
Please, universe.
And now, I think that we've gone
But
through
wait.
that. Pretty exciting stuff.
All right.
I like Roxanne's comments, too. Dragons, 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 dragons. Which I think gets to the heart of it.
Sums it up.
All right, everybody.
Dragons for the win.
What you're here for? Let's give away a Game of Thrones replica foam sword. This is courtesy of fun.com. They have given us access to 5, count them 5, replica swords. And the way this is going to work is,
Yes.
so these are the swords you can choose from. We got foam replicas of Ice, Oathkeeper, Longclaw, Needle, and Jaime Lannister's unnamed sword from the earlier seasons.
Oh, the earlier seasons. Okay.
Yeah, it's not Widow's Wail.
It was not Widow's Wail. Okay.
Yes.
Still pretty fancy,
And
though.
I'm going to ask a trivia question.
Yes.
Game of Thrones trivia question, not
Yes.
like weather. And
No.
all of you, when you hear it, open up your internet, your email clients, and write in my address. You're going to email your answers to dan.selke@winteriscoming.net. And we'll flash that on the screen when we can. Again, that's dan.selke@winteriscoming.net. That's it in the comments right there. And email your answer. And the first person to get in a correct answer, I'm going to get back to. You get to choose a sword. Choose what sword you want. And then we'll ship it out to you.
Immensely fancy.
To U.S. only. Yes. I'm sorry to our people, to our viewers in other countries, but this is U.S. only. It's fun.com. They're very generous.
Yes.
And we thank them very much. But it is only U.S. only. So, okay. If you're ready, here comes the trivia question. Again, email is dan.selke@winteriscoming.net.
Yes.
We're talking about swords here. What is the name of the Valyrian sword long possessed by the members of House Tarly? Sam's family. What is the name of the Valyrian steel sword
I know this one.
that's been ancestrally in their family? Sam stole it, or took it back, if you want to, how do you interpret it, at the end season 6. He still has it, apparently. Gonna bring it back to John, probably. What is the name of the Tarly family Valyrian steel sword? email your answers to dan.selkie@winteriscoming.net. The first person to get the answer correct, I will email back, and you get to choose which of these 5 beautiful replica foam swords you get to take home today, or whenever fun.com mails it to you in the mail.
All right, 2 things. One, I
Yes.
know this answer. I'm very proud of myself.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to, oh, my glass is empty. Drink for me, Dan. I do know this answer. And second, which sword would you pick, Dan?
Which one I pick?
Yeah.
Maybe ice, because it's the most expensive.
I mean, that's a very fair response.
It's the biggest.
Well, I mean, look.
You get the most bang for your buck if you choose ice. But I mean, choose what you want. If you want Arya's sword, choose that. If you want Brienne's sword, choose that. You want Jaime's unnamed sword? I don't think I'm going to get a lot of press for that one. Maybe.
Yep.
John's sword, long claw, better be popular.
Yes.
Anyway, that is it.
Yes.
I think everybody got it in. Looking forward to your answers.
Good luck, everyone.
And now, we'd like to bring on Mr. Josh Hill for our ongoing segment, A Song of Dan and Josh, where myself and Josh Hill, who is a fan-sided editor, walk through every chapter of, you can't just like, like make it up slowly.
I'm going to say goodbye to everyone.
Sure, go ahead. I say goodbye on behalf of Cheryl Wassenaar.
Thank you.
And welcome Josh Hill into the fold. We go through every chapter of Song by Ice and Fire, chapter by chapter. I've read the books multiple times. Josh has never read the books. Let's pick them apart, see what makes them work. Josh, how are you doing? We poured you some beer.
I'm doing good. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody out there is doing good. Michael Douglas, you were a great Ant-Man too. Fantastic job.
I wonder, how long we're going to keep that up.
I mean, how can you not keep it up? So,
I love you, Michael Douglas. I appreciate your viewership.
Yeah.
And don't mean to tease about your name too badly, although it is kind of fun.
It is.
Anyway, enjoy your beer. What do you think? It's the...
What is it?
Queen of the Seven Kingdoms Sour Blonde Ale Blend. I like it.
It is. It's very...
It's very sweet.
It's very sweet.
I have to
very
write about
summery.
it, but the more I drink, the harder it gets.
Very summery. I like
it. I like that. All right, Josh. So we are here talking about 2 chapters from A Game of Thrones, the first book in the series. First, we got Daenerys 6, and then Catelyn 8. Both kind of like in-betweeny chapters, but there's never anything in a Game of Thrones chapter we can't discuss and break down.
Right.
Let's get into it. Daenerys 6. So this is after Viserys is dead.
Yep.
Daenerys is on her own. She's kind of in charge. What conflict is she facing in this chapter?
Well, there's the whole deal of the assassin that we have to get
problem.
to. I mean, the general theme seems to be that she wants to go to Westeros. This is like she wants to get across
she still wants to.
the poison water, as we call it.
Well, there is this section where she's like, do I really need to even go to Westeros? Like,
yeah, the internal struggle.
I have a husband. I'm queen of this tribe. I have an insurance policy, the Dosh Khalil when I'm older. Maybe I could just chill. But I think she also says she was the seed of kings and conquerors, and so too the child inside her. She must not forget that. She has her eyes on the Iron Throne prize.
She does, and I think that's smart. That's that's something that she's got to do. But I like the struggle that she has thinking about trying to do that. It seems like it's a classic narrative structure, I think, because it's she's comfortable with this life. It's a fork in the road situation, right? She can stand pat, live the life that she has.
She has a life,
she has a life, and
she's got a kid on the way.
All the things that you said, all these things that she has, or she can go off and kind of capture her destiny. And I think I like how that was laid out here, because it was, we call it an in-between chapter a little bit. But I do feel like this is the genesis of Khaleesi. This is, of Daenerys. This is where we kind of jump off, and this is her journey. This is kind of where it starts, at least mentally, where it's you could go one of these 2 ways. It's the old, the Matrix red pill, blue pill moment. It's what does she want to do? So, and I enjoyed that.
By the way, really quick, Julie says, you look different, Josh. What is it?
Glasses, probably. Not wearing the glasses. Got a haircut.
It's haircut. I thought it was a haircut.
It could be the haircut.
Also, summer clothes. I don't know. Short sleeves, shorts. It's a whole new thing. The other bit is, so she's wondering if she wants to go to Westeros at all. She does want to, but she has to convince Drogo.
Yeah.
Who she has this thing at the beginning where they're talking, and she's like, we should go to Westeros. We can take it over for my son. and apparently he wants to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
He wants to go raid the Jade Sea, wherever that is. She's talking to Jorah, and she's like, he needs to go to Westeros. How do I convince him? And which is the problem that her brother had. Like, he wanted to go to Westeros, and he kept on nagging and nagging and nagging, and eventually Drogo just dumped a pot of gold in his head.
Yeah.
So I like that she's...
Among other reasons.
Yes, it's not like Ferris had a lot of problems. He had issues. But she's a lot more patient about it.
She is.
So she's trying to convince him, just like Viserys was, but she chooses her battles. Like, they have this conversation at the beginning, and he's like not really into what she's selling him.
Yeah.
But then he's going off hunting, and then she thinks, like, if the hunting party returned triumphant, her lord husband's joy would be fierce, and he might be willing to hear her out. So she's not just thinking, like, I want to go, take me, take me, take me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I got to choose the right moment. I got to see what I can do to, like, make him want to go.
Yeah.
And not just, like, insist that I'm the queen and she has to go for me, which is what Viserys did, and then he got killed.
Yeah, she's playing the game. And this is a comparison that I thought of when I was reading this, was this is kind of Cersei-esque.
Oh, yeah?
Where it's like she can't just go out and do these things that she wants to do. She can't just go out and say, we're going to Westeros, we're going to King's Landing, this is what's going to happen. You've got to be patient. You have to see where the pieces on the board are moving, and you have to wait for your opportunity to kind of get in there and then get what you want. So everything has to fall into place, and that's kind of what Cersei has to do a lot. Like, she's insane. If she had her way, she would blow up the Sept right away.
And yeah,
you know?
and she does eventually get her way, and look what happens.
She does, but it's after a lot of calculated moves. It's very meticulous what she's doing. And I think on a lesser level, on a less, intense level, I think Daenerys has to do the same thing. And all the characters have to do the same thing, which is you can't just go off and do what you want to do. Ned kind of is the only person that's done that, where he's stayed true to his own vision, and we all know what happens to him.
Right.
So I liked how she can't just go and, I want thing X and I'm going to go get it right now.
Right.
And it's just going to be a clear, straight path. It's the winding road that she has to get to her goal. And that's ultimately her journey, and it's how she grows and acquires all of these things along the way that ultimately makes her the character that we like so much.
Right.
So
it's interesting, too, because in the whole book, I think in a way, is like Daenerys coming into the idea that she can be a leader.
Yeah.
Because the whole time, like, she is trying to convince other people to do the things. She's trying to convince Viserys to go along with her, trying to convince Drogo to go along with her. It's only later that when she gets her own army, it's like, oh, I can decide what I want to do. But that's still coming.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn, which is great. She does get some help, in a way, in this chapter, after an assassin, probably sent by Varys, tries to poison her.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying, but also ends up kind of inspiring Drogo to get angry enough to go and to Westeros. How's that happen? What do you think of that turn?
Well, it was interesting in that we talk about all these relationships on Game of Thrones and how they're a little weird. We make the jokes about the incest and all that stuff because it's there. But like,
we should.
Drogo and Daenerys kind of actually have a real relationship. Like we talked about a couple of chapters ago when like she was eating the heart and she looked at him for encouragement, and there was like an actual moment between the two. It wasn't.
He was like proud.
Yeah, it wasn't like superficial or anything like that. There was an actual moment between the two, and I think that this harkens back to that, where he's really not keen on leaving the homestead. He wants to live the comfortable life.
He has
the normal life that they've always
his way
lived.
of life.
The way that things have always been. This is the way they always shall be. But the thing that turns him is the idea that somebody would attack his wife, somebody he loves. And this confirms to me even more so that this is somebody that he truly does love and care for, because it's something that inspires him to kind of throw everything out and say, all right, we're going to go over here and we're going to get vengeance for this person that tried to harm my wife. So
I have 2 points. I about the relationship thing, I agree completely. And I like the way, do you notice that at the beginning, that Daenerys and Drogo are just talking and it's written in English. And there's, like, before, it had always been like, he was speaking Dothraki and she was just trying to catch it. Like, it's a good way to tell us, like, she's gotten to the point where she just understands what he's saying.
Yep.
There's no need for any, like, translation or anything like that. So they're comfortable like that. They literally speak the same language.
Yeah.
I want to read Drogo's big ending speech because it's equal parts inspiring and kind of horrifying.
Yeah.
when he decides, okay, I'm going to go take the Iron Throne for my son. And to Rogo, son of Drogo, her kid, the stallion who will mount the world, to him I also pledge a gift. To him I will give him the iron chair his mother's father sat in. I will give him 7 kingdoms. I, Drogo, Khal, will do this thing. I will take my Khalasar west to where the world ends, and ride the wooden horses across the Black Sea water, as no Khal has done before. I will kill the men in the iron suits, and tear down their stone houses. I will rape their women, take their children as slaves, and bring their broken gods back to Vaes Dothrak to bow down beneath the mother of mountains. This I vow. I, Drogo, son of Barbo, this I swear from the mother of mountains, and blah, 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 blah. The point is, okay, he's doing what she wants. He's also threatening to rape people and take broken gods back and kill all the people and tear them out of their stone houses, their castles.
Yeah.
It's just this mix of like rousing rhetoric and also like, hey, wait a minute. You're talking about slaughter, right? Should we be excited by that?
Parts of it, not all of it, I would say. It's like, I don't know, I was like reading that part and I was envisioning like Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm in my head where he's like, yes!
I know where you're going.
And then he's like, keeps going, he's like, I don't know, maybe not that.
And it
it's
zooms in his face, it's like,
yeah, and it's like, oh, all right, I guess. But,
not too far.
Yeah, I'm with half of it, not with the other half of it. But also, I think it represents too everything that needs to go into something like taking the Iron Throne, or maybe it's like a metaphor for things that the way you have to approach a war or something like that, where it's like there's good parts in it, like yes, we defeated the Nazis, but B, we bombed a lot of innocent civilians and all these things. There's a lot of collateral damage. So I think that's kind of highlighting these two things that have to merge together when something like this happens. And you sit there cheering on one half of it and then accepting everything else that comes with it. So that was interesting to me. And it fit right in with, the old, he's changing because he wants to go over to Westeros, but it's same old Drogo. That's
very much so.
You can't take the Dothraki out of him. That's always going to be in there.
If you remember, this scene's in the show, and Jason Momoa killed that bit.
Oh, yeah.
He was like really, really passionate. It was really, really cool. And I like that Martin, he doesn't shy away from the fact that it is kind of scary, that you can like this guy and cheer for him and also acknowledge that he's going to make a lot of people very unhappy and very dead, and just embracing the complexity of that, which is, I think, how it should be.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Catelyn 8, another in-between chapter where Catelyn arrives at Robb's camp at Moat Cailin. We get a lot of description of just, I don't know, like like how the castle was built, stuff like that. And what happens when they reunite, mother and son, Catelyn and Robb Stark?
Well, it's ultimately what Robb wants to do is be this leader of this army. He has a lot of decisions he needs to do,
which he is,
with Tywin and all this kind of stuff. And if Catelyn just kind of comes in and plays the mother role again, where it's like she's back, she's kind of taking control. She's worried about everything that he's getting into because it's her son, but she also at the same time recognizes that he's a growing boy into a man, and this is him coming into his own. The interactions between the two, I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, why?
Because it was like classic, angry, angsty Robb, and then like understanding, like more of a adult, mature Robb. You got the duality.
Yeah,
the duality of his
that
character.
theme.
Yeah, which again, she's on the one hand, Catelyn's saying how Robb is or thinking that Robb needs to be this strong leader,
which he does because he has people working for him.
Yeah, and then on the other hand, he's kind of in this whole chapter he throws kind of a temper tantrum, and it's like, oh, what are you gonna do here? So
the moment sort of to me, there were a couple where it goes with that the whole thing, like Robb has a split personality. He is adult and he's a kid, like at the same time, where. Like she kind of confronts him, or not confronts him. She just talks about what'd she do? Oh, she's
giving him motherly advice.
Well, yeah, she wonders whether he's really up to the challenge of fighting Tywin Lannister and Jaime Lannister. And he's angry 1 second, like how could I brought this together? I've raised this army. I'm clearly great at this.
Yeah.
And then like instantly he kind of shrinks back and wonders if she is, and I quote, sending me back to Winterfell. Like, and the irony there is, you're a king. Like, no one can send you anywhere, but, like, that's where his mind goes. He goes back to, like, the 15-year-old whose mommy is mad at him.
Yeah.
And in that state, she has authority over him, even though she really doesn't. I mean, all these lords are taking orders from him. They're not taking orders from Catelyn. But he's still at the age where he can regress back to that a second. And it's not even really regression. I mean, because she has really valuable things to say.
Yeah.
Like, the bulk of their conversation is her kind of doing a whole Socratic thing where she's like, how will you handle Tywin's army? How will you handle Jaime's army? And, like, he's giving her answers. And when she likes them, she goes on to the next one. And when she doesn't, she tries to, like, there's even a quote. She's like, I think it was like, he wants to put Harold Karstark in charge of the army that will fight Tywin. And in her head, she's like, ooh, it's a bad mistake. But how do I make him see that without hurting his pride?
Yeah.
And then she has a whole thing where, like, well, Harold Karstark's great, but, I mean, he's awfully brave, but you're outnumbered. Maybe you want someone who's not quite as brave and is more cunning. So he puts Roose Bolton in charge, who's like a stone-cold lizard man.
Psycho, yeah.
Or just a lot less, like, bombastic.
Yeah.
Like, there's one commander who would charge into battle just going like, blah, blah, blah. And in some situation, that's great. And the situation where you're outnumbered, though, you want someone who's a little more cold and calculating, like Roose Bolton.
Yeah.
So she's gently guiding him around the curves without trying to, like, just step in and take over for him.
That's what I liked about the interactions between the two. Because it's, on the one hand, you know, not to say that, like, George R. R. Martin was, like, ahead of his time addressing, like, fragile masculinity and, like, having to, like, very politely address, like, ease him into how wrong he is about some of his ideas. But also, on the other hand, it's fascinating to me that he is a lord and he is in a position of extreme power. And he still has to take, you know, advice from his mother. He has to be mother.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to, but, like, he respects his mother enough to have to hear that advice, and it's kind of like to me, it had Catelyn in a little bit of a position of power that
she definitely
was
had power
interesting
there.
because it's not one that actually exists because her title is his
Mother
mother
of the king.
Yeah, and that's it. But that the relationship is so that she does have power over him.
Yeah, completely she does.
If he was raised differently, if he was a different person, he would just be like, I don't have to listen. If he was, you know, if he was Joffrey, he'd be like, I don't have to listen.
Joffrey would not listen.
Yeah, but
Cersei anywhere.
And again, that kind of, to me, was something that I like, showing us the different characters, the different kind of families here, and how, you know, the nature and nurture thing that's going on. I like that, and Catelyn's a good character. So the fact that she has power over a lord here is pretty cool to me.
And I mean, like, we're talking, like, has power over. I feel like it's almost doing a disservice. Like, it's not that she's trying to draconiously usurp him.
Exactly.
She's trying to gently guide her son.
Yeah.
But although I do know there are fans, maybe some of them are even here, who don't like Catelyn very much. Julie has a comment, and I'll just read it verbatim.
Oh, Julie.
Catelyn. Why? I'm honestly curious to hear why some fans feel that way, Julie. Like, if you think Catelyn is like, why? I am curious because I personally like Catelyn, but I do know some fans don't, and I'm eager to have that dialogue. What else, Catelyn? So she does all that. She kind of guides around the curves, which I liked.
Yeah. I also like too how Tywin is like this.
Oh, she hates her. I love it.
We need some context on this, Julie.
We should talk, Julie.
We need some explanation.
Perhaps for, like, right now or even next week, we can, like, talk about what you hate, and then we can address it on the next show.
Ooh, she should send in an email with, like, things that she dislikes, and it could be a topic that we talk about.
Kelly Two Doesn't Standards is good. If either of you guys want to write me, dan.selkie@winterscoming.net, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, and then we can talk about them on the next show.
Address it next week. I like that. That's great. Yay for hating Catelyn.
Yes.
But with Tywin,
loving Catelyn.
We like Catelyn. Yeah. Tywin is mentioned in this chapter and all that.
Happy she died. Oh no.
No. Why would you be happy that? No.
I mean, that's valid. If that's your opinion, it's your opinion. But I would just love to. I'd love to hear the opinions. Anyway, go on.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. So Tywin is like this character who was mentioned, and it's almost like I was getting like the whole like Jaws, the shark and Jaws thing, where it's like he's mentioned. It's this ominous thing that we're up against, but we haven't really interacted with him. We really don't know a whole lot about him. So it's like then off in the distance danger thing, which I like. He's
been there at all, has he?
No, and it's like it adds to the mystique, which I kind of enjoy a little bit. I mean, not all I can picture is the guy from the show now, but like so we know about him. But it's
I think that's fine.
Yeah,
like I think he slid in that role very nicely.
He did. Also, fun fact about him: he was in Yeah, Charles Dance was in one of the James Bond movies as
I could picture it.
A silent henchman. It was one, I forget what it's called. I think it was For Your Eyes Only. It's the one where James Bond goes to the Olympics. So, and he like chases James Bond around and skis, and they go on one of those like huge ski things.
Is that like one of the off-brand Bonds? Like not
No, it's a
Connery
Roger
or-
Moore one.
Okay.
And I always love it when I remember that Diana Riggs was in On Her
Yeah, she
Majesty's
was.
Secret Service. So there's like all these like James Bond
Is
things.
that the
being
off-brand one?
interwoven. No, that one is the
Is that
one.
Timothy Dalton?
No, that's well. You could technically say off-brand is anybody that's not Sean Connery.
I applied to Timothy Dalton.
Oh no,
and,
that's Timothy
some
Dalton was
really
in the
weird
80s.
ones.
No.
Okay, cool.
He was the one that did it once, and
Gotcha.
then retired. Foolishly.
Yes.
There's a whole documentary about it. But anyways, Charles Dance. That's what I think of
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I
we're on
think
track.
of
Not
Tywin.
too
But
far podcast.
But he was a Bond villain, and he's a villain in this too. And it's like this whole he's at a distance thing kind of adds to. We talk about the world building. It adds to it. He's off in the distance. He's the shark in Jaws. We haven't seen him. We know he's a bad guy. We know we're fighting against him. We know we have to do all of this tactic to fight against him and his armies. But you don't really know much about him.
Right.
So that was again the world building here, the subtle world building. I don't know if that was intentional by George R. R. Martin or not, but I did find that was an interesting part of this chapter.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he has a stable of great characters, and he can't bring them out all at once, so he has to bleed them in slowly. Speaking of which, and I keep doing this to you, but I think you should remember Lord Wyman Manderley. Would you? He is in the show like real briefly, like a little cameo.
Okay.
Like in that scene where like they all elect John King in the North. He's there, but he's the guy here who is too fat to sit in a horse. He Catelyn traveled with his two fat sons
Like
to
Kevin
rob
Smith, too
camp.
fat to fly.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
the Westeros version of fat. He will come back in a big way in the books.
Okay.
They kind of wrote him out of the show mostly, but Lord Wyman Manderley, too fat to sit a horse.
Got it.
Fat. The Lord of White Harbor. So recall that guy. And about all the strategy they're talking about, really quick, I wanted to ask you, that whole final bit of Rob and Catelyn's conversation where they're talking about, like, kind of the nitty gritty of, like, I'm going to send this army over to this bridge, and I'm going to send this army to the twins, this army around Jaime's thing. Do you think we needed all the detail, or was there an element of, like, military strategy porn to this, where it's just, like,
I think
like a military wonk just loving to write about the minutia of battle strategy?
I can see that side of it. I can definitely see that side of it. I thought it was useful in that we had this chapter where it was mostly Catelyn and Rob having this back and forth.
That was definitely the
mother
heart
and
of it,
son.
yeah.
And then it's like, this is back to business. It's okay. This is all the tactical, you could say almost boring things that need to happen. We're back to the day-to-day life after we've been having this little mother-son moment off to the side.
Well, really, I mean, it's like weaved in.
Yeah.
Like, while they're talking about it, like, that's when she's guiding him.
Yeah.
Like, as he says, I'm in this position, she's like, ooh, it's bad.
Yeah.
And then brings it back. So it's kind of combined.
Yeah, like the duality of Rob being like this snarky, whiny little teenage boy, and then being this leader of the North. I kind of liked that was weaved in there too, because it was a reminder where it's like, on the one hand, it's like he's a kid talking to his mom who can have a little bit of a whiny attitude, but at the same time, he is this lord who has to be in charge of all of this military tactical stuff. And it's something that Catelyn is well versed in too,
Yeah, she is.
which also to me adds weight to her character and is like, okay, apple doesn't fall far from the tree type of thing, and also reinforces this idea that Rob should listen to Catelyn. You know,
Yeah.
it's not just a mother talking to her son thing. It is, but it's like she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah,
she's fluent in all of these things. It's not just Ned and John and all of the masculinity of knowing the militarism of all these things. It's Catelyn knows these things too.
I mean,
So
it's also about people. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like the strategy is which person do you send to do which task. Catelyn knows everybody.
yeah,
Okay, really quick. I didn't plan for this, but there are a little bit of comments on the Catelyn debate, so let's just go through those really quickly. Okay, because there's a bit of debate. This is great.
this is juicy.
So Julie's objection seems to be mainly that she made John's life seem useless, did not like John, which is totally true, and had Tyrion arrested for starters. On that point, I agree. She did not like John. That's pretty well established. I don't think she should be condemned completely for that. I think you can kind of understand her motives. I don't agree with them, but it is true. She did not treat John well. Tyrion arrested, we talked about that. Like, the information you have at the time, it seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't falter for Tyrion's arrest too much. It's one of those things where, yes, if she hadn't done it, it wouldn't have led to war. But you can say that about a lot of things in this story. All the way back to Lysa telling Littlefinger telling Lysa to poison people. And then there's some back and forth here. We got, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. We had Mona Helmgen saying Catelyn raised boys into men. She didn't raise assholes. Sure, she wasn't the best stepmom to Jon, but her kids are all good people. In the world of Westeros, it is no mean feat. And Julie comes back with to treat any child like that would be totally wrong in reality. Which it totally would. And Ray saying Catelyn had little nothing to do with raising Jon. She also pressured Ned to send him a 16-year-old boy to the wall, which he totally did.
She did.
Jon is definitely the black mark in her reputation.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
There you go.
Nobody's perfect. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, and then Mona comes back with it must. Oh, I'll sanitize the comment, but it's it must be, if it must be hard to be asked to raise a child who isn't yours, your husband's product of an affair with someone else. It can't be easy.
Sure, it's probably very hard.
Okay, so there is a spirited debate. I hope we can have some more of it in the future. Any other thoughts about these chapters, Josh?
Sorry.
John is fictional. Josh is here.
And no, it was ready to move on here. Running out of real estate in this book.
Yeah, but we have 4 more, so no freaking danger of that. All right, next up, we got the next Tyrion chapter, and then I think a Sansa chapter, I believe. Yes, Tyrion and Sansa next.
All right.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. This is a good show.
Yeah.
Congratulations to everybody who tuned in, who sent me emails for the giveaway. Hope you win. And we will see you back next week at Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time here on the Winter's Coming Facebook page. More Game of Thrones news, more Song of Ice and Fire tidbits, and more A Song of Dan and Josh. See you guys next week and Wednesday. Bye-bye.
See ya.